2017, Western media branded KFPD as a North Korean front. They claimed it was a sham, a mirage to soften criticism of the regime. Homeland Security even detailed Moon Chol and two of his staff members in New York, accusing them of illicit purchases. What they supposedly found was never disclosed. Were they guilty? I can't say. Yes, welcome to Doc Wales Diaries. It's always a privilege to have you walk with me through the pages of these stories, each one etched with memory and the mystery of divine providence. In this episode, we continue our journey to one of the world's most hidden places, North Korea, a place where silence often screams and the disabled have long lived in the shadows, but sometimes even in silence a voice of compassion rises. This is the story of a reunion, unexpected, emotional, and almost unbelievable. A story about a man I once met but never forgot. A man I came to call my Cornelius. It's a story of doors closed and windows miraculously opened, of shared songs in a Chinese restaurant, of God's presence in the most unlikely places, of what happens when love for the forgotten refuses to be forgotten. This is a story of integrity, hope, and the quiet revolution of kindness in a land where light is often scarce. Come with me now into a tale of reunions, resistance, and grace that bridges even the deepest divide. Cornelius, who the heck is he? You might ask. What does this ancient Roman centurion from Acts chapter 10 have to do with the story about North Korea? Well, let me take you back to 2007 when I traveled to North Korea as part of Cure International. I had hoped to help build a hospital for disabled children. We didn't succeed, but I met a young man there, a North Korean with striking integrity, a quiet strength, and a deep love for his disabled compatriots. He helped us every step of the way. I never got his name, but I never forgot his face. Before I'd even stepped foot in Pyongyang, I heard whispers of an underground church. Despite the regime's brutal persecution, some were still walking in faith, like my favorite man, Joseph Arimathea, secret disciple in hostile territory. In my heart I prayed, Lord, let me meet a Cornelius, a man devout, generous, God-fearing, someone who proves your work is not forgotten in this place. And in that anonymous young man, I sensed the answer. Acts 2, chapter 10, verse 2, echoed in my soul. He, Cornelius' family, were devout and God-fearing. He gave generously to those in need and prayed to God regularly. Now we fast forward to March 2016. Stella and I were en route to Oxford University, invited to a concert featuring North Korean performers at the Sheldonian Theatre. On the way, Stella said something offhand, but charged with meaning. Wouldn't it be amazing if you saw your Cornelius tonight? I chuckled. That would be unbelievable. We arrived early and watched the rehearsal. Blind accordion players, with harpists with arthritis, an amputee tenor with a voice that could shake your soul, dancers who couldn't hear the music but felt it with their bodies. It was a breathtaking experience. I struck up a conversation with someone nearby, sharing our failed dream of a hospital in Pyongyang. Suddenly, a man in front of us turned around. His face lit up. Cure International? I know that. I know you, Dr. Price. My heart stopped. It was him, my Cornelius. He had a name now, Moon Chol Kim. We embraced. No words, just tears. He hugged Stella and we were overwhelmed. As the concert ended, the North Korean ambassador to the United Kingdom, Tae Young-ho, yes, the very same who defected to South Korea later, he approached us. "God gave you a special blessing tonight," he said. "It was meant to be." It felt more than coincidence, like a divine appointment. This was the beginning of something new. A door once slammed shut in Pyongyang was now, by God's grace, a window opening wide. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 20 says, "We are therefore Christ's ambassadors. We implore you that on Christ's behalf be reconciled to God." We felt that we were his ambassadors, and that's what we became. 2 weeks later, I met Munchol again in London, alongside our team, a Welsh tenor, Hugh Pridey, Brazilian football coach George Pinera, and Korean pastor Peter Cho. We sat across from a North Korean delegation in a restaurant in Soho, London. It began formally, then I asked Hugh to sing, "I am dreaming of the mountains of my home." The atmosphere shifted. Munchol stood and sang a Korean song. Then Mr. Moon, the deputy ambassador, sang Arirang, the national anthem. We all joined in. George sang How Great Thou Art in Portuguese. Barriers fell. Human hearts connected. For a moment we weren't diplomats or doctors. We were just people singing, laughing, sharing. There and then Munchol and I agreed we would work together. With the blessing of his superiors and the right paperwork, I would return to Pyongyang to support KFPD, the Korean Federation for the Protection of the Disabled. Munchol was more than a government official. He was a reformer. Under his leadership, North Korea signed the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities in 2013. The 2003 disability law was expanded. Before this, the disabled in North Korea had been ignored, seen as burdens or worse, as cursed. But Munchol believed in something better, and so did his team. At the Taedong School for the Blind, I saw their love firsthand. Children reading Braille, playing music, gardening, laughing. One teacher served there for over 40 years. Her eyes welled up when we gave her the Braille printer from the Perkins School of the Blind in Boston, Massachusetts. But not everyone saw the good. In 2017, Western media branded KFPD as a North Korean front. They claimed it was a sham, a mirage to soften criticism of the regime. Homeland Security even detailed Munchol and 2 of his staff members in New York, accusing them of illicit purchases. What they supposedly found was never disclosed. Were they guilty? I can't say. But what I do know is this. Critics never saw what I saw. They never heard the songs. They never looked into the eyes of the blind child who had learned to dream. Demonizing the enemy is easy. Loving them, that takes the gospel. The North Korea media said that Munchol was mugged at New York airport. But here is mugging by love. Brazilian coaches trained deaf footballers. British professors taught physical therapy. Greenhouses were built to feed orphans. Gold ball for the blind. Limbs crafted for amputees. It was love in motion. Love your neighbor as yourself, Jesus said. Not just those nearby, but those across borders, across ideologies, across fears. Real love mugs you. It disarms your defenses. It leaves you breathless with hope. So here's to Cornelius, and here's to Munchol. Here's to those who open windows when doors are slammed shut. Hey, let's keep going. Let's keep loving. I'm going to see you soon, Doc Wales.
I am dreaming of the mountains of my home, of the mountains where in childhood I would roam. I have dwelt 'neath southern skies where the summer never dies, but my heart is in the mountains of my home. I can see the little homestead on the hill. I can hear the magic music of the hill. There is nothing to compare with the love that once was there in that dear old little homestead on the hill. I can see the little churchyard down below, where the mountain breezes wander to and fro. And when God my soul will keep, it is there I want to sleep, with those dear old folk that loved me long